Exactly, because I know there's gonna be a day where like I'm not gonna do anything. It's just like might as well bring it. I don't want to bring my Switch because the only thing I have on the Switch will be Monster Hunter. Because I'm not buying Zelda when I'm visiting family. Because if I buy Zelda, I'm not gonna spend time with them, and that's the main reason why I'm taking the trip, to be able to spend time with them.
Yeah, I didn't play Breath of the Wild until like a year after it came out, and they're doubling down on stuff I don't give a shit about, like crafting, like with the fuse mechanic,
Yeah.
big hand, mega hand. I don't care.
I love Zelda when it came out, but the thing is also that was the only game on the Switch.
Yeah.
And then
Odyssey, bro.
And don't give
Odyssey
me
was sick.
And don't give me dumb shit like, oh no, there was also this game. There was only like 5 games.
Yeah.
4 of them were shit. And there was Zelda.
Switch, baby.
Exactly. And one of them was Zelda. So I played the shit out of Zelda. I didn't touch my Switch at all until Odyssey. And I liked Odyssey way better than Zelda.
Odyssey is my favorite 3D Mario game.
It is my second. It is my second.
Love Odyssey.
It might be my second, third favorite Mario game of all time.
What the fuck has the Mario team been doing?
Chilling.
Yeah, there was a different team that made the 3D Kirby.
Mm-hmm.
So what? I guess they're making the launch Mario game for Switch 2, maybe.
They could be doing that. It could just be like.
Because what else did that team? Because with the expansive, like physics simulation and how much more landscape they put in, like real estate they put into Tears of the Kingdom, it makes sense. Like, yeah, that took you 6 years. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But then, like, new 3D Mario, please.
But to like test out too, because it's like, well, what possibilities do you need to test out?
Yeah.
Like, do you get like? I'm assuming they put like 30 to 60 testers down in basement in a cage, hand them the game. It's like run the bug report for like the next year, just because of all the weird shit that you can do in it. And it looks cool. It looks exciting, but like, I know what I'm gonna be getting from Zelda. I know what I'm gonna be getting from Tears of the Kingdom. I'm gonna get like a huge, expensive world where that level of exploration, which got me hooked up on the game. Like I put 100 something hours before I even decided to fight Ganon. So I know I'm gonna be doing that in this game. However, I am gonna beeline to wherever Ganon is hiding because I want to see his ass.
When they release a sexy Ganon amiibo, are you gonna get that?
Probably.
Are you gonna get 2? One to keep in box and one to jizz all over?
No, I'm getting 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the approach. Yeah.
Well, like box, jar, butt plug.
Okay.
But he's like shaped like that, anyways.
Yeah. He's got that sword hilt. Maybe it might like
and
up your anus.
They come with a flare top, a flare bottom. So like nothing's gonna go there. Talking about that, I read a fucking wild ass story on Twitter. Apparently.
Oh, this episode is gonna be called "Bottoming for Ganon."
Hell yeah. One of the stories I read is like it was this thread of like the wildest stories that you saw in the ER, because it was just a bunch of like nurses like talking about it. Apparently this guy wore a butt plug to an MRI scan because the butt plug said that was 100% silicone. It was not.
Oh,
it had a fucking
fucking
rail gun all the way to his stomach.
Yeah.
It survived, and apparently he tried to sue the company for it because it was not 100% silicone.
As he should. As
Yeah.
he should. As he should.
Yeah, but it was apparently like
Who?
sex perverts.
Is this an episode of Jackass? I'm just like, hey, try and see what's inside of me for this X-ray. Oh.
That is a thing. That is a thing. Some people like apparently that is a thing.
This is why people should only be having missionary
for purposes of procreation.
Yeah. DeSantis, get this legalized nationwide, only missionary, and there will be a new government agency that will watch people have sex to guarantee there's only missionary.
Apparently there's, not surprisingly, they're having a lot of fucking issues filling out job sites in Florida because of the new bill that they passed with immigration. Like, nobody, like, getting shit done is not happening in Florida.
Dude,
unsurprisingly.
You need day laborers, man.
Yeah.
You need day laborers. Too many a huge influx of day laborers. That causes problems. You need the right amount of day laborers. Okay, there's enough sad people to see on the street.
Yeah.
I don't need to see more.
Yeah.
It takes so much mental energy to ignore the amount that's there. I don't need a huge influx. Just the right amount. Just the right amount. Zelda. Yeah, we don't give a shit about Zelda for now. But yeah, check this shirt out. I'm officially a soy boy.
Soy Rizo. Okay.
King of Soy Rizo, man. New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's one of the sponsors, and they have ads with some of their wrestlers.
Shut up.
With Soy Rizo.
Shut up. Really?
Yeah. So the King of Soy Rizo is the New Japan Pro Wrestling shirt. This took me I went to like 3 different shows of them not having this shirt.
Jesus.
And then I refused to buy it online because it would have been more expensive with the shipping.
Mm.
But finally, when I went to the DC and Philly shows, I was finally able to get this because as soon as we got in the doors,
You made a beeline for it?
Yeah, made a beeline straight to the merch table because so unsurprisingly, wrestling merch, they don't stock a lot of mediums. They don't stock a lot of mediums.
Surprised you don't go for large, just that way you guarantee something.
Yeah,
You'll be floating on.
I've got. Here's the thing, like my pink Bullet Club shirt is a large because I thought I was the happiest I've ever been when I bought that shirt, and I also thought it would shrink down. So that's a large. It's just like it just goes down so much, man. I shrink, please. One of the few times I want a shirt to shrink, and I just won't.
Talking about merch, I watch a couple of shows like in the middle of like us recording stuff like that, and I realize I do that too as well, where I just go straight to the merch booth ASAP. Like I don't care about finding a good spot. Like like I'm 30, like I'm in my early 30s, and I'm still like getting my shit wrecked by just and being on my feet for like more than 4 hours.
Same birthday, bros.
Yeah, same birthday, bros. Birthday twins.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Connie's dad.
And fucking Sarah from my old job.
Yeah, and my old roommate's sister. And 2 sisters, I remember the name of one of them, but not the other one, so I'm not gonna say.
And Ram's kid.
Yeah.
Ramses' kid. Yeah, we shared birthday with Ramses' kid. Ramses and Elon Musk kid. The new one. The one that's fucking named after a weapon or whatever.
They don't.
Anyways, yeah, I go straight to the merch booth because like I don't care about getting like the best spot anymore. I used to be really big, like I have to be at the front, I gotta be in the middle, I gotta be able to blah blah blah. I don't give a shit anymore. I wanna be at the room when they're playing. That's all I care about now. And I've been finding like really nice merch. I went to watch 100 Gigs and Machine Girl, and they got like a nice shirt out of it.
Nice.
That's never gonna shrink. And I went to watch one of my favorite songwriters ever, Phil Everum, Microphones, the Mount Theory. He was playing in Chicago, which I didn't know anything about. I just was dicking around my phone and was like, look up a lyric because it's like, is he saying this or that? And right away, it's like, yeah, playing Chicago in this. It's like, I'm fucking getting tickets. Got to meet the guy, super nice. Bought an album, and then we went to Yeji. So I went to Microphones on the night.
Mm.
We watched Yeji the day after. We went straight to the merch booth. Nothing that we wanted. But she put a hell of a good show. And then the day after, we went to my roommate's show. So it was like back to back shows. And every single time, just straight to the merch booth because I wanted to see something cool.
Nice.
And I think I just have a problem collecting things now.
Yeah, I after getting the Final Fantasy 16 Collector's Edition.
You got 2 Rubicons, right?
No, just
one. Okay. It's 2 Final Fantasies. One.
Yeah,
Rubicon.
2 Final Fantasies. One of them I'm giving to my other buddy who makes Gunpla, Zaitsev.
Nice.
He is also a Final Fantasy 14 guy.
Oh hell yeah!
So yeah, great guy, good guy. I'm gonna I have it getting shipped to the burbs, so I might take a day off when it comes out, so I could drive out to the burbs, drop off his copy, and then just play the game.
I'm heavily considering taking a day off or the day after 16 comes out.
Yeah.
That's all I do.
Thing is,
it's what I used to do at GameStop. Whenever a game that came out,
June 22nd, right? Yeah, I'm not going to be playing it that weekend because I will be at a lake house, drink beer on a boat in Wisconsin.
just bring your PlayStation.
Do that.
At
Might
the
get
boat?
wet. Might get wet.
Put in that Tupperware.
Just gonna chill out, living that lake life, drinking beers.
The whole
bring up
time-
the edibles.
The whole time you're gonna be looking out the window and you're gonna be like, man, that looks just like this area in Final Fantasy.
Like, oh man, that cloud formation looks just like Bahamut.
Dude, talking about Final Fantasy, because I was watching like the trail, like the big 20-minute thing that they had going on.
Yeah.
That vertical mountain drives me nuts in such a good way. Because that is such a final.
Like crystal?
Yeah. What is it? It's like a mountain structure, and it's just a flat vertical
Oh, the building that's next to the crystal.
Yes.
Yeah.
That shit fucking gets me so hyped up for no reason.
Dude, something I love about that shit.
Because it's just fantasy architecture, cyberpunk, what is it, I watched a small thing about cyberpunk not long ago.
Yeah.
They hire architecture architects to be able to we want to be able to build buildings. What if these laws weren't in place? What buildings will look like? Well, they will look like one on top of the other to be able to maximize money, and it's and that's what they build up the city of, which is why it looks so cohesive and so cool.
Dude.
And then the opposite of that is we got fucking magic. Just giant building, just flat next to the crystal.
This is what I was looking up while I was trying to go to bed. Kowloon Walled City, which it is like a urban dystopia.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like in Hong Kong where it became like essentially a lawless region, and people just kept building upon building upon building on building. It became like this weird zone that was run by the Triads, and then there was no building code or whatever. It's bananas. It's a sprawling dystopian mess. It's so cool. It's been demolished and it's a park now in Hong Kong.
That's where they film Akira.
Yeah, dude, essentially,
Yeah.
But it became this huge red light district where you just want to get prostitutes, heroin, just go there. The cops aren't going in
This
there.
the no low sign.
Yeah. The cops will only stop tourists from going in there. Otherwise, it's it's run by the Triads,
Yeah.
we're not touching it until eventually, no, we're fucking demolishing this shit. We can't have it.
Talking about Triads, not long ago I went to Dunkin' Donuts just to get my. I was feeling a little cheeky. I was like, you know what? I can make coffee. I can just treat myself, get a little iced coffee. I'm pretty sure I saw a Triad meeting because there's three Asian men in their 50s wearing the most baller ass outfits I've ever seen, just talking in something I don't speak Asian languages, so just speaking in something. And I was just getting my coffee and I felt something was happening. Either that or they're just three older men in their middle-aged life crisis.
Yeah, well, it could just be a mahjong crew.
It could be imagined. Well, they would have pulled out a mahjong.
That's true. Well, maybe okay, we're going to get coffee, breaking from mahjong, and then we're going to go back and lose money to each other.
I feel like they would have smoked cigarettes if that was a mahjong crew.
With modern health now,
Yeah,
there's
true.
less people smoking.
Yeah, true. Nah, they're all vaping now.
Yeah, all the old guys vaping. No, there's no dip. Dip is what's cool. But yeah, it's. I love that. With we were talking about the level designs of that they were showing in the Fires of Rubicon trailer. That that
Stacked on stacked.
balls out sci-fi or fantasy architecture, but this disgusting sprawl or these giant mega structures. I love it, man. It's something I love. Are you familiar with Antonio Gaudi? He's
Is that
a Spanish architect.
No, I'm thought you were gonna go with that scary Polish painter that makes like hellscapes. I'm familiar with Sagrada Familia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Antonio Gaudi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that kind of cool ass architecture. It always fascinated me because like my dad was an architect, so I just had these books of like Art Deco and other shit and shit like this, and just like, oh yeah.
How does he feel about brutalist architecture?
I mean, it doesn't.
He just thinks it's just a huge jerk off.
Kind of. Like it's functional, but like.
Like, cool, you made a square.
His favorite guys are I.M. Pei and Frank Gehry.
Okay.
So like, let's just get a bunch of metal shit, superfluous metal shit on something, or like let's just have really simplistic glass triangles, like so that kind of thing. Whereas brutalist is like, no, this is. I appreciate it.
This is as utilitarian as it gets.
Yeah, I appreciate it in like, again, utilitarianness and like dystopian fiction, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I like it like monstrously huge breasts.
Yeah.
Like I get the appeal and like am I gonna
Are you gonna do something with it? No, but
yeah.
you like looking at it.
Like can I get off to it? Yeah, I can, but I don't like it. I think it's gross.
Talking about humongous, huge,
like I'm talking monstrously huge, like a fucking
like an eye size.
Yeah, like anything large as a small watermelon or bigger, just like that is unnatural, or it's a medical growth that needs to be attended to.
Talking about huge, scary breast. I actually had I forgot what my segue was gonna be with humongous breast.
You don't need no segue.
You know, I'm just gonna talk about a little bit more about Zelda. I think Zelda is gonna be great, but like I've said, I think a huge chunk of it is just gonna be like how stylized it is, and which is gonna be like what's gonna attract me to the game. Let me sink in another 100 hours. On top of it, it's gonna have that Elden Ring.
Yeah.
I call it Elden Ring feel, even though I think Wind Waker did it first, of like exploring and finding just a vast world and just finding things at your own accord.
See, something that appealed to me about Elden Ring was the reward of exploration was more worthwhile in that than Breath of the Wild, because I didn't enjoy Breath of the Wild until I stopped exploring and like I'm just gonna beeline the Divine Beast and then like do the castle, and that was fucking awesome, man.
The problem that
you get nothing. You get for doing all the shrines, you get a fraction of a health upgrade and then a box of ammo, essentially.
One of the things that I like, that was one of the problems I had. Another problem was my problem with weapon durability wasn't that the weapons broke. I think that was actually like really smart because he actually made you want to look around the world again to be able to find new weapons, and he actually like created this like loop system that I actually really enjoy. It's like, oh well, fuck, my cool weapon broke. Well, let me go over here to get another cool weapon to get it back. Like I like that. My problem with that mechanic was it just laser pointed monster design into you have to fight humanoids because who else is going to be wielding these weapons? Like one of the things I really like about Zelda is like just how cemented the world is within its own like mythos and like the different kind of like creatures that you get to fight and different iterations of the same creatures that you get to fight. You don't get that in Breath of the Wild at all. It's like you get your Bokoblin, you get your big Bokoblin, you get the Lynels, you get the Lysalfos, and the Stalfos, and anything that has feet and hands is what you get to fight on.
It needs to be able to hold a stick.
Exactly, and I didn't like that.
Yeah.
And I think a huge chunk of that just comes over from the weapon durability. Because like, well, fuck, we want to make sure the players are able to get weapons. They have to get it from enemies.
Yeah.
These are the only enemies that can wield it.
And then Tears of the Kingdom just doubled down. Like, well, if your weapon breaks, you just fuse some shit together.
Yeah.
Like,
I'd rather have that, but the thing is, it's like, I want to be able to find a weird monster. I don't want to find a thing that kind of looks like a human but weird. I want to be able to fight.
I don't think you're gonna get that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get that, and I spoiled myself. Fucking, I knew I was gonna fight Ganon at the very end.
Yeah.
I watched the last fight. It's very disappointing.
Oh, it's not as cool as Calamity Ganon? I like Calamity Ganon.
It gets...
That's
So,
a chicken character.
the Ganondorf fight is very disappointing.
Oh,
Do you care about spoilers?
No. For Zelda? No.
Okay.
Those
It's-
weird twats who like the Zelda timeline shit. Who gives a fuck?
So, it's... You fight Ganondorf with his cool,
Katana?
with his cool katana.
Oh, hell
But the fight is kind of slow. However, he gets to also... That dodge mechanic that you have where if you dodge at the right time, you slow down time.
Yeah.
He can do that too.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's sick,
which
dude.
is cool.
So, like... So they bring it down, make it more intimate, like a Virgil Dante thing.
A little. The thing is, it's like...
But then you still have like a bunch of your weird, wacky weapons.
Yeah. The thing is, it's like he's just like very slow and just like hits you once. So everything's like super telegraphed, because like they know the people that are fucking playing Zelda title in fucking 2023.
Or baby dicks.
Baby dicks. And just huge piss babies. So it's like they cannot react. They cannot react to like a common like swing or whatever. So this fight is very slow. Then he goes into wizard mode where like he does the same thing, but then he gets he's able to like throw magic at you.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool. And then he dies. So it's like, no, fuck you. I'm gonna kill you. He turns into a giant dragon, and the giant dragon fight is really fucking cool.
Okay.
But it's only cool because it makes me think of Shadow of Colossus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you have to climb on it and...
Yeah, so like you have like you get I don't know where this dragon comes from, and I don't care. I'll find out when I play the game. But a dragon helps you out of 2, and then you have to kill the 6 to 7 boils that Ganondorf has.
Forspoken, you get to ride a dragon in the final boss fight.
Oh hell yeah!
Forspoken did it first. Fuck you, Zelda.
Fuck you, Zelda.
Drakengard did it first.
You get to fuck the dragon in Drakengard though. When are we gonna in the novelizations?
Okay. Yeah. Like that. Dragon's already too. I don't like the humanoid dragon because it because sex perverts we've talked about
What don't you know like
and that
about?
website is called baddragon.com.
They're really. It's a really cool website. They're bigger than you think.
Bad Dragon?
Yeah, they're like even when you buy it small, it's like this thing is huge.
Yeah. Well, I've seen content, dude. So I'm like, whoa, that's a tiny lady.
How am I gonna fit this in? Oh,
Yeah.
this is how by rearranging my guts.
Yeah.
Anyways,
We've all been there.
we've all been there. But yeah, what were we talking about?
Butt plugs and Zelda.
Butt plugs and Zelda.
Yeah. Again, I just remembered the episode's called Bottoming for Ganon.
Oh yeah, we were talking about fucking dragons.
Yeah.
What did you not like about the one hole?
What, cloacas?
Yeah, it's so useful.
I don't know, man.
Like clean it up, but it's so useful. Just the one. Don't have to think about like what you're gonna do. It's just the one.
It's not my scene, man.
Okay.
It's not my scene. That shit comes out of there too. Like I'm a mammal, okay? I don't want to fuck some fish or bird hole. I'm not into cloacas. It's not my scene.
You ever been Sidon? The fish prince from Breath of the Wild.
Dude, I'd beeline, but I don't remember a single fucking
It's
character.
the fish shark guy that is
I
like.
remember swimming up the fucking waterfall to get to the divine beast. That was
That was
fucking
so
cool as
fucking
shit.
cool. Yeah.
I don't remember a single character's name.
Sidon is the shark guy, is the Sora guy. Which, by the way, I fucking love the fact that they went from shitty blue fish elves to just cool ass fish people.
Mika? Is that the fish girl?
Mifa is the fish girl, but
Okay.
Sidon is her brother.
Yeah.
And her brother's like, you fucking rule, Link. You're the coolest. And then he does like a flex. He does a fucking... You're like my Tomodachi. And he like smiles at you on his fucking shark fans. Just like listen and they do the cool thing. And I was like, I understand why people want to fuck fish. Like, he makes me understand that.
Like Troy McClure, man. Troy McClure from The Simpsons.
But yeah, no, like, I think I'll pick up Zelda when I get to it. I just didn't like how the shield was.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll pick up Zelda when I get to it, and it's gonna be cool. I'm just like, I just know it's gonna be cool, so I know I can delay it, because it's not like I'm gonna be missing a one-time in a life experience. I'm gonna be missing a solid ass experience.
Yeah. Also, like, something that I was able to do last year, just not giving a shit about the zeitgeist. Like,
Mhm.
I need to be part of the conversation of what's
Yeah.
going on. Like, fuck no.
No.
I want to finish, like, Marvel's Midnight Suns came out last year. I finished it this weekend in May. I'm like, yeah.
Just losing
Play
out,
it when I play it.
losing out on video game FOMO has been like so refreshing
Yeah,
to me.
like, especially like not working at GameStop.
Yeah.
And like, I need to be able to talk about this shit to make sales. Just like, and also with, like, it was fun doing it, but like with the Nerdington Post, like talking about current gaming shit. Like, no, I want to talk about this shit. Like, I
Yeah, they should have been
I
doing
don't
this.
give a shit about Zelda. Like, and I'm kind of forcing myself to talk about Zelda.
Yeah, who gives a shit about Zelda? Like, what kind of idiot gets that tattoo?
You don't have Triforce, right?
No, my brother does.
Yeah. Like, one of the lame. Well, here's the thing about Billy Boy.
Billy Boy.
We love you, Billy.
We love
but
you, Billy.
He doesn't have the Triforce. He has a full-on specific Majora's Mask. Not a sleeve, whatever the leg equivalent of a sleeve is. He has a full-blown Majora's Mask thing on his leg.
He has a sock.
He has a full-blown Majora's Mask sock, and that is cool. Whereas some, like, dipshit who's in theater class who has a fucking
Triforce here.
Triforce.
Or they have a Triforce here.
And I'm not thinking of a specific dipshit.
Or they have a Triforce here, and that Triforce, it's colored in such a way that the Triforce of Courage is the one that's lighter than the other ones because it's shining, because he's Link.
And I retract my dipshit statement. The person who I may or may not be thinking of, it's been like 15 years, so I don't know if I'm even thinking of the same guy, but the guy I kind of thinking of, he was a cool guy, he was a nice guy. He's not a dipshit.
Yeah.
Unless he does have that tattoo. Unless I don't think of the right guy. Oh,
yeah, but yeah, I mean, Zelda. I think Zelda has cemented its place in my mind brain, where it's like it's just gonna be great when I play it, and I'm okay with playing it when I get to it.
Yeah,
I've said I'd rather play a 6 out of 10 than a 10 out of 10 any single day. And I've been going through Code Vein, and I'm enjoying the shit out of that. They had some issues. Kind of like how when I went to...
Before you get into Code Vein, let me get my last Zelda thing in.
Yeah.
Like, I love immersive sims, like Dishonored, like having those simulated elements interplay with each other, like...
It's cool. It makes...
Physics and combustion, all that stuff.
Just be everything like planning, is this gonna work? And it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's so satisfying.
When it's just like, can I do this and this and this? And then like, oh yeah, based on the simulated physics and other systems, you think it should work, and it does. I love Arcane's games. Not checking out Redfall until later. But those sort of immersive sims, I love those kind of games. Think about like Breath of the Wild. You take those elements and bring it into an open world game with a lot of exploration. But because of the open world nature, it's like, if I want to do this thing, I have to make my own fun rather than like when you have that closed level design, you're more in more situations of like, it pushes you into those situations more of like, does this combine with this and this? Whereas an open world game, it's like, oh, can I knock that thing down and have it roll down the hill? Like, or you could just fucking go around that thing or climb up or just do something else because it has that wide, bigger design. Or just, I fucked around with, throughout the entire open world, I fucked around with the immersive sim elements like at most 3 times. Just because you never have to do anything with them.
The big thing that I feel like that has to, I'm just gonna echo a little bit with like how we talked about earlier about Elden Ring. The micro dungeons between Breath of the Wild and Elden Ring are wildly different when it comes to like just the reward system on it. Not only that we spoke about, but like every single micro dungeon is just a puzzle that gotta figure out. And granted, being able to figure out one puzzle having like 50 different answers that you can think of, it's exciting. But it wears off so fast.
Yeah. Because a lot of them to me were... Well, the reason why I started hating... I liked the exploration and the shrines at first. And then, like, because my mind goblins, like if I run into something, I gotta beat it immediately, and then I started hating the game, which is like fuck. I'm just doing the same kind of like different physicsy sim interactions.
I got to the point where like, and granted, I think I ran into the point like very early in Zelda, where like when I was able to figure out like most answers, most rewards are just gonna be like ammo or like equipment that's just gonna go away like after a couple uses.
Mm-hmm.
What I end up having most of my fun is doing the world exploration, but not doing the shrine. Like I will find the shrine as kind of like a point that I could like go to later. It's like cool. I unlocked a quick waypoint.
See, I should have done that.
Yeah,
I probably would have enjoyed the game more.
It's so fun that way, and that's the kind of approach I'm gonna be taking with Tears of a Kingdom. Whenever if I find out like that's the case, if the case is still the same, where like the reward is really the puzzle that you got to figure out. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
No.
Like I'm doing this puzzle so I could get a fourth of a heart piece. Fuck off.
I will do those just because like I like bigger life. Like I like when number because it hits my mind goblin of number going up. However, like that would just really be exclusive. There's like a couple things in Zelda I really like that were like they're it's the adage of like it's not about the end goal, it's about the journey. Zelda does that, but the ending is so dissatisfying that you can just kind of like model some of the experience. One of the coolest things I can think of that I did in Zelda was I found it was like closer to like the Gerudo area or like the Arizona area, Anaciani area, and it was this really ancient like shrine section, and because it was like Asian, it had like those watcher guys that would just like kill you in command.
Yeah.
However, it was so old that most of them didn't work and they couldn't move. So it was just a section where you were just like literally like flying down in your little parachute and you were just getting laser everywhere and you had to like manage that up, and then you found this little cave inside of like an arch. And you got in there, and that whole sequence is super cool, just for a pair of boots.
Yeah.
But they're the boots from the first Zelda, so it looks cool. So no, I don't care.
No, Zelda.
No.
Link looks like an idiot.
Yeah.
That tunic shit. But yeah, no.
Yeah. But no, but yeah, that's kind of like a rant in Zelda because like it's a great game, and I feel like the fact that we're complaining about this like little things goes to just to say like how great that game is gonna be, but like I just don't care.
Yeah,
it's that FOMO. Like I don't care for that FOMO anymore.
I think one of these days, because I've never Breath of the Wild was the first Zelda game I beat just because they were all uninteresting to me. Because I've started the original, not necessarily uninteresting, but I got bored with them. I started the original Link to the Past.
That's what happens with
Wind Waker.
That's what happens with Ocarina of Time with me. I get bored.
A couple of the GBA ones. And then just like, this world's not interesting to me to explore. Like, I don't give a shit. But something I do want to go back to is Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
I'll just check that out because, I don't know, man. It just seems more my vibe of...
Grim Dark.
Yeah, and also I was just hanging out at my buddy's place back in the day when that came out, and he was doing like the combat challenge dungeon where you're just going in these dark rooms and fighting guys. I'm like, yeah, it seems neat.
It's neat. The rewards, I don't remember what the reward is, but it's kind of neat. It was fun. Like Twilight Princess has this really weird like.
I'm a dumb guy. I just want to fight shit.
Yeah, that's fair. It has one of the better combats.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's Zelda. It's not saying much.
Because the thing is, like, game puzzles aren't typically that hard or interesting to me. Like, unless it's a specific, it's specifically a puzzle game, like The Witness or something like that, where it's like, hey, don't want to do that.
See,
I don't want to think that much. But then, like a Zelda puzzle, you don't think enough.
I don't know what it is about Zelda puzzles, but like when they were in 2D, those were super satisfying to me.
Mhm.
When they moved to 3D, it wasn't anymore because a lot of the puzzles, like, do you have the dungeon item? Yes,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
And in Breath of the Wild, I didn't like the micro puzzles, but I love the beast puzzles.
Dude, when you're in the camel, you have to twist its body
Yeah.
around. Yeah, people
I
hated
love
the
that.
Divine Beast. I fucking
I
love those.
love the Divine Beast. I wish it was more of that and bigger. I wish
Yeah.
like that was a lot of like what you had to do.
The set piece to get into the Divine Beast were fucking baller.
Mhm.
Like the unique body puzzles to traverse the Divine Beast were awesome, and then the boss fights at the end were awesome.
I fucking love the Thunder Ganon version. Like,
Yeah.
just the fact, like, hey, like, have you learned the dodge system? No? Well, you gotta
Yeah.
learn it now.
It's like, you gotta parry this shit.
Uh,
God damn it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, not everything has to be open world, and I feel like Zelda calls out to that.
Yeah. Well, they can't not do it again.
Well, yeah,
'Cause
unfortunately.
it's sold too well. It's like we can't not have an open world Zelda.
Yeah, we'll see.
No.
Do your thing.
Now they have Iwata's dead. Iwata's dead and buried, and they have more conservative leadership now.
Yeah.
And also Miyamoto, they've kind of just like, you go in this closet and do your own thing.
You're the Queen of England. We'll
Yeah.
just check up on you to see if something's okay.
Yeah, it's like, hey man, we can't not do this format again.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been playing. I love all of that Zelda talk.
Code Vein.
I play Lords of the Fallen. I love Souls-like, and I love whenever somebody tackles Souls-like, just to see like what they bring to the formula. I really like Code Vein. I just don't like how uninterested melee combat is. So I think I spoke about it before. You have your blood codes, which are basically your jobs in the game. They give you like different stats, and then if you want to wield different weapons, you have to have like different like affinities to your different stats, like your dex, strength, whatever. And then you can equip different passives to level those up and be able to fit them. The game straight up is like, hey, do you have this buff? No? Well, make sure you have a blood code that can use this buff. Your blood code doesn't have it? Well, make sure you put these passives to level up the stat to have the buff. Do you have that buff? Cool. Use it in the boss fight. And that's just kind of what the game revolves around to now. Boss fights are interesting, but it has a lot of shitty jank, and because of that jank that game has, it makes certain gameplay elements not work, which makes the game you have to play the game differently what I imagine the developers intended to, and it makes the game so fun to me. It has this really weird mechanic where like every single level that you trust, because it's very linear, has an internal level. Basically, you kill enemies, and whenever you unlock your job's abilities, you have to grind those out to be able to make them permanent. That way you can equip them across different jobs. That color, the amount of like skill experience that you get correlates to your normal character levels. So the higher level that you are, the less experience you get to level your character and to be able to acquire the skills. So actually, it's more beneficial to be lower level throughout the most of the game.
Weird.
Yeah, and that comes in with the jankiness of like the way that they designed it, which makes like most of like the fights like 1 or 2 shots, which makes them super exciting to me. Because now I actually have to like straight up learn the fight in and out as much as possible, because I get 1 or 2 shot it, and the healing is so shitty in the game because it stops you and the startup and the cooldown and your healing, it's really shitty. Like if you get attacked, you can in Dark Souls, you get attacked, you can go back once or twice, heal, you'll be fine. You go back once and twice. By the time you're done and you're able to move, the enemies are in your face doing another attack. So it's a lot of like jankiness to that, but like just I like it a lot, and a huge chunk of it is because of the anime aesthetic. I'm not gonna lie, but I like just.
It's the mega waifu.
I did make my wife, which she's really hot. She has a cool like extras in her face. But yeah, just the jankiness of like how like badly developed the game was makes me appreciate like how I have to play around those things, and it makes the game a lot more fun. It does unfortunately make me like have to. Whenever I find a tough boss fight, I have to equip this specific loadout I have to be able to beat it. But the game traversal is super fun. And the story is okay. I mean, I've never played God Eater, but apparently it's very God Eater-ish. To the point where, like, it is referenced that maybe they share the same universe, but I miss that. But I'm almost done with it. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I just got caught up, like, grinding materials to be able to level up my weapons. One thing that it does that I kind of wish Dark Souls did, and they kind of did it with Elden Ring, boss free fights. They have this really weird mechanical depths where it's just like a mini dungeon, and at the end of the mini dungeon you get to fight one of the older bosses. But they're the easiest guaranteed way to get materials to level up your weapon.
Chalice dungeons in Bloodborne.
Chalice dungeons Bloodborne did it. However, if you beat that Chalice dungeon, that's kind of it.
You can revisit them.
But you don't get to fight the boss. Like, if you got to a Chalice... No, not Chalice dungeons. I'm talking Elden Ring.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Elden Ring, like, you beat it. In Chalice dungeons, I guess, yeah, you can find
in
them.
Bloodborne,
Yeah, in Bloodborne.
And then you can refresh that setting of dungeon,
Yeah. I've tried to find out the best way to, like, farm specific, like, materials. It's just to fight bosses on the depths. And it makes me replay the bosses I really like, and I care to find out like a lot of the bosses I like in that game is just like it has a clear tail that's gonna hit me, and the wind down is enough where like I'm able to react to it.
Something that's cool with Sekiro, when they patched it in later, like the boss rush.
The boss rush, I almost, when I found out about that update, I almost like bought a copy just that way I could just go through it because it's so fun. Like I love the first owl fight.
Like something I'm interested about them. We talked about this before. The mission structure of Armored Core 6. They're like, if there's a cool fight, I could just go back to it rather than play through a whole fucking Souls game again just so I could experience that boss fight.
Or or like have a different save that way you can replay. Because don't you have that with Ishin?
Yeah. I have several cheesed save files of some Souls games where I'm like, that was a cool fight. Let me make a backup of that save and put it in another folder just so I can fight guys like Ishin again.
Ishin is so rewarding. And like I remember the first time I beat it, like literally my ex at the time, who I was with, it was my day off, and I was literally just fighting it for like an hour just because I wasn't able to like get it right. And I was playing in Japanese with English subtitles, but just seeing like hesitation as defeat every single time just angered me so much. And it was just the one time it was like it was one of those moments, like don't have no healing. Last bit, you have a little bit of life. They're gonna hit you, but you just parry at the right moment and you get to do it. That you forget to press the button to finish it. And I still did it, but like just that second of hesitation is like, did I do it? Oh shit, let me press it. Yeah. No, I fucking love Ishin. I feel
best enemy encounter in any game.
Yeah, it's my only micro annoyance in that fight.
You have to fight Genishiro beforehand.
No, I actually like that a lot. Because Ganesha is so easy at that point, and he's so shitty, and just a shadow of the fight that you had before him. The third phase is the lightning makes it super easy. Yeah, it's really all about that second phase because
with the spear and the gun.
But
I think the last phase is kind of just like a victory lap, kind of. I mean, it's
it's still Ishin that you have to fucking deal with.
And then like the returning the lightning isn't guaranteed because like sometimes. With the angle and the movement, it won't hit him. It's just like, oh fuck. But if you do like hit him twice with it, it's over. But
Elden Ring still has like a bunch of my favorite fights like ever. I still think Radahn and Radog and together. Snake guy. I forgot his name.
Oh, Rykard.
Rykar and Radan are like I think my favorite version, my like one of my favorite fights like in Souls games. But like Asian is just the best one. It might not be my favorite one, but I can tell you no, that is the best fight every single time.
I think with Rykard, it's that Storm King template, and I think I like Yorm the most out of that Storm King template.
I didn't like Yorm that much. I like Yorm.
Story.
I like Yorm with Sigurd.
Yeah,
I don't like
the story
Yorm.
is what.
Yeah, but the thing with Rykar is like, and I think I mentioned it. I think I might have mentioned it before. Like it is, as somebody like that, somebody that grew up slightly Catholic.
Yeah.
That whole manner is just hell. It's just different depiction of hell, and you have the blasphemous snake that you have to kill.
Yeah, in the depths of Inferno.
Exactly, like that just hits a spot, and it is the de facto like cinema. This is like what every single game tried to build up to cinematic fight.
And he's also like considered the betrayer of the demigods.
Yeah, and just the fight, just a bunch of AOE's everywhere, but you have this weapon that's able to like beat it and like.
I'll give it to you. It is the best of those fights.
Yes.
Yeah. The story, man. The story.
See, that's
the story between the bros, the giant and the onion.
I love that, but it's just like I said, it's just a little bit of like I think just like trying to when I was trying to be raised Catholic and like I had to like read through it. And it's just like those things I'm supposed to be scared of are like the coolest shit ever. And then fucking one of the Omen brothers, not the good one, the evil one. Mog's fight is he's just it is a evil goat man with a trident, with bloodfire, a trident, and wings. Like you just fight Satan. I love it. I love it. And then Radam is just cool. Run is like, hey, like I love fighting. I love Warrior God. I love fighting so much. I'm gonna base my whole like aesthetics around this old grandpa that I have that love fighting. When I got crazy, please kill me in a sick ass war fight
tournament.
Yeah.
Sick ass raid.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I figured out the Moog mechanic with the countdown. Do you just have to heal through it? Or is there a trick? Is there like a special item to negate it?
There's a special item.
Okay, I think I didn't get that until after the fight.
So...
Because like, alright, I can't get hit until this happens.
Yeah.
Because I need to heal through this shit.
So, apparently that's super... So, apparently, us having that...
Either
experience?
I didn't get it until later, or I read the item description after the fight.
Apparently, having that, that experience, super uncommon. A lot of people do find the item because it's like it's in Atlas Plateau. It's like one of the churches that you have to fight.
Okay.
And that church in specific has a blood guy.
Okay.
So like.
Oh yeah, I don't think I.
And it's like straight up. It's straight up. The advertisement tells you it's like, hey, this will make sure you don't get fucked over by Nihil.
Okay.
But like no, that experience that I did the same thing my first playthrough. At first time I fought him, I didn't know like I thought it was a DPS race. I had to like learn the first phase to make sure I always had minimum 3 Estas.
I need to be able to heal through it.
Exactly, and that's what it is, and that made the fight super rewarding. And then I did it with my mage character. I gotta piss real quick, so I'll be right back.
Konnichiwa. Today's sponsor is baddragon.com.
Oh yeah, Code Vein. It's janky and it doesn't play well. It has issues, but I'm so in love with it just because those issues makes me have to play the game differently than what I think it's intended.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm a low level character going through it because I want to make sure I learn all the gifts, and it makes boss fights like a lot more rewarding because a lot of the things that one of the main complaints I saw was like the game is too easy, and yeah, it certainly is, but it's also because the game is.
You always have the AI companion, right?
You can put him away. You can put him away. However, like all the boss fights feel like they were designed with like you have to have a companion because of the amount of DPS that you have to do with them. do you have to do to them. And they scale with you. So like the stronger you are, the stronger your companion is. So like by being at low level, it feels a lot more fun, a lot more like engaging when it comes to difficulty. And I found out because the rewards that you get from leveling up are very minimal. A level 50 character the difference between a level 50 character and a level 300, which is the cap, is only at 10%.
That's a good point. Just get to 50, get to the soft cap.
More health. However, because the healing is so shitty, it's actually more beneficial to have a lower health threshold. That way your healing items actually heal you a significant amount.
Yeah. Rather than having this weird buffer.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah. Like I said, because it's poorly designed, it makes me have to approach it differently. And some people would say, well, like, that's just bad game design. It is. But guess what?
Have fun with it.
But I'm having fun with it.
Yeah.
And yeah. And also, one thing I really like, all the weapons of different types have different attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Like similar to like Souls, but not to like the point where like Souls has, where like like the Claymore, this two-handed sword has the same moveset as this other two-handed sword, but the stats are differently. So yeah, this sword will have a different moveset than this other sword, and the stats are differently altogether. Which makes me actually have to like pick favorites with the different weapons that I have.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm excited for Lords of the Fallen 2 just because of the jankiness I'm finding in Code Vein and the jankiness I had in Lords of the Fallen.
It's just Lords of the Fallen.
Just Lords of the Fallen?
Yeah.
The Lords, right?
No, they took the out.
Why?
They pulled Facebook.
Well, I'm excited for Lords of the Fallen because
it's gonna be Lords of the
I want to see if they commit to Chunky Souls, because I had tons of fun playing Chunky Souls. The fast classes are not fun in Lords of the Fallen.
I disagree. I was a dual knight guy.
You're a dual knight guy?
Dual knight guy.
I was...
The combo is so satisfying when you do it.
And that's
getting those extra damage, and then you use so little of your stamina.
That's something I wish Souls actually took back. And something that Neo and sorts whatchamacallit, not so Paradise, Strangers in Paradise, they like just the stamina management is just different, which makes you have to approach fights differently.
It's just you hit the button at the right time, and then like the active reload sort of mechanic where you just rebuild it to get your stamina back faster. I like that. Yeah, it's like as much as I love Souls, there are some mechanics that just like it's more interesting than other games. Yeah. But I also like the simplicity of Souls, whereas you just focus more on the fundamentals and the exploration. Because you should definitely check out.
It's not Remnant, is it?
No. I don't like Remnant from the Ashes. It's made by the developers of Lords of the Fallen, the original one. The Surge.
The Surge?
Yeah, sci-fi Souls. Play the Surge too.
Okay, I played the first one. It was like I enjoyed enjoyed bits and pieces of it, but like the main mechanic behind it of like you like that armor, you like that left arm.
You have to attack that specific piece.
I like that. However, it was super janky in the first one.
Yeah, two's just smoothed out.
Okay.
Two's just there's no reason to play the Surge 1. This is just a better version.
Neo 2. There's really no reason to play Neo. The only reason why you want to play Neo 1 is because of the sick wheeling fight in Neo 2.
Yeah, like the main reason I'm not going to play Neo 2 is because of the reused content. Of just like I already played 60% of this game. So
I did too, but then I played 2. It's like there's no reason to go back to Neo 1 ever. No. It's just a better version.
More mechanics and other stuff. But...
Literally, the only thing that I didn't like about Neo 2 over Neo 1 is just the demon mechanic.
Oh, the Devil Trigger.
Yeah, I like the Devil Trigger better in Neo 1. It
seemed more powerful in Neo 2.
Well, it's because you can build for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the bit. It's like, hey, like all these spirits and all these equipment that you can have, you can have builds specifically that way you can have the extended time as possible, and the longer time that you have, the more damage that you do, and blah 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 blah. Yes, you can do builds around with that, which, I mean, on paper is better. I like the feel of it better in 1.
Yeah, okay.
It's all about game feel.
Yeah, the game feel is so important.
Yeah.
Done with Code Vein?
I'm when I finish up, I'm done talking about it.
Okay. The only thing I've been playing is my Square Enix mobile games. I'm almost fully caught up with what's out for the story in War of the Visions Brave Exvius, which is the Final Fantasy Tactics gacha game. Because I think the US is either a month or two behind for the events, so I've been going through the story and just getting the gems that unlock with it, so I could throw all those gems at the Final Fantasy V tie-ins, because I want Ferris and Bart's, man. I gotta get Ferris and Bart's. I have to get all the resources.
Talking about Final Fantasy,
so I could level them up to 120.
Talking about Final Fantasy V, so I just order a cassette that I can play.
Cassette?
Yeah.
What are you, my mom?
What would you call it? Cartridge?
Yeah, it's a cartridge.
I've always called them cassettes.
Well, that's unless you're playing that one. What's it, Atari or ColecoVision and television?
I've always called them cassettes.
You are a foreigner.
I'll give you that. I was looking up cool this weekend. I'm gonna look up kind of what builds are and what kind of what to do, because the thing with these older games, there's jank on it, and I don't want to have a character that's just fucking useless because the code doesn't work. A lot of do the characters have different stats that are just better for, or is it very negligible? Because Bravely Default had that, where hey, this character's stats are they pan out this way, so he's better equipped for these kind of jobs.
I think in typical 80s Japanese sexism, you'd have Bartz and Ferris do the physical jobs, and Kryle and Lena do the magic jobs.
Gotcha, okay.
Or rather, Galuf, because he's an old man.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't remember, but I remember that Ferris, at least that's what I did. I don't know if there actually is a stat difference, because I didn't think about stats that much back in the day. But yeah, I had Bart's and Ferris's physical, and then everybody could do everything.
Yeah.
But I think Bart's want to be slightly better because he's a man.
I mean, because that's the thing. Ultimately, I know ultimately the answer is it doesn't matter. You can still beat it, but can I beat it better?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I be gooder at the numbers?
Because you could do that in Final Fantasy VII. You can make anybody do anything, but purely spec'd out physical damage Vincent is going to be noticeably weaker than a fully spec'd out physical Tifa and Cloud.
Yeah.
Whereas
I was made Vincent my red mage.
Vincent is, that is his best stat.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but I've been playing. This weekend, I think I mentioned earlier this episode, I beat Midnight Suns. Too big a party. Too many characters.
Too big?
Too big a party, man.
How is Storm comparably to the other
Storm's
ones?
good. I love Storm.
What's her gimmick?
Her gimmick is you want to have her cards sit in your hand for an extra turn, because they get powered up next turn. So when you draw a card, you can still use it, but if you hold it in your hand for another turn, it unlocks an additional effect.
So she says slow burn?
Yeah. But then she also has a card, she has a buff card where if you play it now, it'll unlock those effects this turn. And she's a fun character to use.
Okay.
Also with being Storm and Lightning based, she can stun enemies, and then her passive is she has an increased chance to stun enemies.
How well does she mesh with the other characters? Because I know that's one of the things that you really like.
Yeah, the team building.
Because hey, I'm playing Spider-Man, I need to be playing this other.
Here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
It's just a strategy game. I love the amount of characters in this with the differentiation of their abilities, and your team composition is so important, and it's fun making good team comps where characters have synergies off of each other.
That's what I really like about triangle strategy.
But the RPG aspect of befriending and talking to these characters to level them up, it's it's written in the BioWare way of just like, oh, you're so cool, Shepard. Oh, you're such a nice guy. You helped me become a better person, Shepard. Like, it's kind of that, but like it works in with the character history, so there are neat interactions and like neat dialogue if you are a fan of those comic book characters. But I forget how big the roster is. But like having to level up again, this is a me Mind Goblins thing of like, oh, I just got this character, I have to max them out.
Yeah, that's...
So as soon as I got Storm, like, all right, I want to beat... Like, my whole thing with the game is I'll beat the game as soon as the last DLC is out. I'll finish that. I'll level up Storm to max level. I'll finish the story DLC and then do the last mission. So, like, I'm like, all right, I beat the story DLC. I'm like, fuck.
Now you get to finally beat the game.
Yeah, well, it's the it's something I love in Persona and something I do like in this game is the social element playing into the gameplay element. Like, I have to level up the social element in order to unlock the to level up the character's passive abilities. And then once I max out the social link, I have access to like their ultimate ability. So that is fun doing that. But then when I'm just like, I'm so close to beating the game, but then fuck this Mind Goblin, I have to fully level up Storm's social link up. Which, I mean, it's worthwhile, but then, again, my specific Mind Goblins of it, like, I have to grind? Like, no, I can't just beat the game now. I can't just beat it. I'm like, no, you have to grind it. You have to have that number maxed out before you can beat it.
I had to fight a Mind Goblin for this weekend because I beat Final Fantasy Tactics Advance.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing was, like...
Also, that game is fantastic once you know the language, by the way. Like, when you play the game, it's like, numbers and things are fitting together and breaking things, yeah. When you actually understand what the fuck they're fighting for, so much better.
So it was fun, like, the DLC. Storm is a great character to use. The DLC, the DLC's story has been, like, you've been fighting Dracula in each DLC episode, so, like, at the end, spoilers, you finally kill Dracula.
What, like, Dracula, or just a mutant?
No, Dracula.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, like, Blade gets his big moment of finally killing Dracula. Yeah, and yeah, it was satisfying. Yeah, it's just satisfying. Like, the basic mechanics are just so fun to pull off, and like having to think turn to turn of just like, okay, this is my hand that I have now. How can I optimize my play based on like the randomness of this hand, and what abilities do I have where I could kind of play around with them once in my hand, and it's just always satisfying deck building. I mean, I fucking like I know it's a hot trend now of just deck building games, but
yeah, it really is actually.
Because ever since like the board gaming boom happened, like a decade ago, that's kind of like those were my favorite type of games, like deck building games, like Dominion, Ascension. Like they're super fun. I even had the Scott Pilgrim deck building game for a minute, which I think I sold on eBay because I played it once and then
that was it.
It's just like, hey, getting enough people to like. We're getting older, and then getting enough people to in a situation where we could have like the optimal amount of people for board gaming. Like it's no. There's always gonna be a guy drinking, and then like I have to re-explain the rules. Yeah, damn it.
That's why people start polycubes.
Yeah, but yeah, Midnight Sun's great. Something fun they do about the last mission though. It's kind of how they make the randomness of a hand of abilities interesting with the deck building structure. They do that in the last mission.
How?
So due to story reasons, you don't have your player created character, and then your 4 best characters are out of commission. So and then they
how does the game decide which are your 4 best characters? Is it because you bring them?
No.
Okay.
Maybe based on level or usage, or it might be social link. Okay. I don't remember how it's decided, but like it was pretty spot on how the game decided my best guys are like, oh, they have 3 of my best guys and that guy too. Okay, whatever.
I'm assuming it's like how many times you deploy them.
Maybe it could be that. So like your 4 best guys are out of commission, and then it gives you like 3 random guys for the fight.
Oh.
And then you have to. Well, here's the thing. Like there are enemies on the field with like ability cards, and if you have to kill that enemy to get that ability card into your hand. And one of them was to tag out a character.
Okay.
So it's like, oh shit, this character sucks. I have to focus that enemy to get that card so I can swap that character out. Or if that character's low on health, I need to swap that out. Or...
Engage did something similar in one of the missions.
But yeah, it's a really interesting mechanic. But here's the thing. Because of those mind goblins, I maxed everybody out, so it's like, oh, this isn't the problem.
This is nothing.
I don't need to swap anybody out. And also, RNGesus blessed me with my beefcake characters. Or like, oh, my characters are Captain America, who's a tank, and then we have the beefcake Hulk, and then the other beefcake Venom. I'm just like, oh, I'm fine. I don't like whatever this situation throws at me. I can tank my way through this, and then like, okay, I didn't have to swap anybody out for this fight.
I love it when like games like fuck with your resources like that. Yeah. I still think my favorite version of that has to be Darkest Dungeon.
2 just got to 1.0 out of early access. You gonna pick it up?
Waiting until I'm coming back from...
Okay.
Because that's gonna be on the PC. Like, I'm not gonna play in the Switch like I did the first one.
Is it gonna be just like it's 3 a.m.?
No, because the fucking controls for Darkest Dungeon, the Switch, are fucking terrible.
What?
You have to...
Moving around menus. No.
The way that you open up a menu is by holding the ZLCR. And then you have to press this button, and then you have to go back. And yeah, it's a lot like holding different buttons to open up different menus.
Like a Kingdom Hearts quick menu.
Yeah.
That's my frame of reference for that sort of thing. I like that sort of menu thing.
The thing
for
is,
like an action RPG, maybe.
It's a turn-based thing, so and for a game where like for Darkest Dungeon where like every single decision matters and you accidentally maybe press the wrong thing, you get fucked over. Yeah. So it took me a while, but yeah, Darkest Dungeon, the first one, has to be my favorite version of that. You know what happens, right?
No.
So the whole game you kind of build up your different units and I had to fight the hardest of the mindiest of goblinists for this game.
Oh, something they ditched in 2 is because in Dungeon 1 you like.
So I'm familiar with
your party dies, they have to level up another guy before you can even try to it's just a little more static and more strategy based.
Vestad is Vestad, the Man of Arms is the Man of Arms.
Yeah. It's not like I have to re-level a Man of Arms. No. There's the Man of Arms.
That was one of the hardest mind goblins I've ever had to fight ever. It's like my characters were not characters; they were equipment.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Yeah. It's like XCOM.
Yeah.
Just like yes.
But
your soldiers die.
But yeah, that was the hardest mind goblin I had to fight. But at the very end, basically like Darkest Dungeon, the way to like play it, I guess correctly in order to like give you an easier time is like you have an A team and a B team, which are like 8 solid characters that you level up and you know how to work the mechanics, and luckily the mechanics are good enough to be able to carry over to like the different dungeons, because each different dungeon has its own gimmick to it. Like each enemies are weaker to this kind of element or this kind of strategy or blah 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 blah. When you finally hit the Darkest Dungeon, and unlock everything, you make the beeline for your team A, right? But then your team A is like really fucking, and then you want to make sure your A team is at top condition to be able to do it. And once you get to the very end, you fight the boss, which is just this like eldritch, like heart, like cosmic heart that like just beats, and it's alive and it drives you mad. And then it does the fucking thing where like it kills your characters and you have to pick which ones have to die.
Oh.
Yeah. And the fact that it's shaped like a heartbeat, because I love that happens when you're Death Doors. It's a heart attack. But yeah, at the very end, whenever after you beat it, because yeah, it runs like a normal like boss fight stuff like that. After you beat it, you deplete as a health bar. Then it gets into a sequence of like, I'm gonna do the tag where it just fucking kills your character. Which one do you want to die? And it's not like you can prevent or anything like that. You just have to pick which one should die. And it's the A team more often than not, the one that you build up to take on this challenge.
The final boss in Midnight Suns is an Eldritch God. The thing though is, like, so after that first phase with the Rainbow team, then you get to use your created character and your A team. But they do it in a weird way. It's you only fight. You have your created character, and then you only fight with one of your buddies at a time, rather than the full party.
I don't like that
because they do interesting things with it, but because your main team, your top four, were going to be sacrifices to this Eldritch God, and then you have to, so you free one, and then fight. You have to clear out the enemy, like certain units of the wave, and then your Marvel guy dips out and then reseals the seal to seal the Eldritch God, and then the player created character goes to like free another guy. So you're like fighting with your best guys one at a time with each other. But the problem with it is that like that seems like a cool final boss fight in Darkest Dungeon, whereas this one it's not. It's just like an Eldritch God floating in the background. That also frame rate fine the entire game. But the final boss... I wanted to ask you about that. The final boss, all of a sudden, the frame rate tanks. Because I think there's too much, like, alpha effects and transparencies going on in the environment where it just kills the frame rate. And as soon as the fight ended, it, like, went back to normal. I'm like, goddamn. But, so, yeah. Interesting things going on. The problem with, like, with the XCOM games... The final mission is always like a fucking marathon that takes like 2 to 3 hours. Like I think this is shorter than XCOM.
That's what Darkest Dungeon felt.
This final mission just because you fight with your squad of randos, you have to kill the boss with the randos, and then you have to go through waves of guys 4 times because you have to do them with your 4 like main guys. And, like, I was hoping for... Like, the game has strong fundamentals. Like, that team, per Axis, makes strong fundamentals for strategy games. But, like, in the XCOM games, there's a boss unit. There's, like, a special enemy you fight. But this one is just, like, is there gonna be a special, like, incarnation of Chthon, this Eldritch God, and I have to fight him? And then it's like, no, you just gotta fight waves. You just gotta clear the waves until the waves are done, until you kill the special enemies in each wave, and then that's it, and then game over. Like, oh, that's okay.
That's really disappointing.
Yeah, it's just like this is kind of like the same fight that I've been having for the past like 70 hours of the game, but it's just like bigger, slightly bigger numbers.
That look reminds me of the final fight in Final Fantasy Tactics Advance 2.
Like, the second to last fight was more interesting than the last fight in Midnight Suns.
Final Fantasy X.
Yeah. But then, like, the second part was just twice as long. It's just like, goddamn, like, it's...
One thing I meant to ask you, when was the last time you played Final Fantasy V? Because I don't know if this question is going to be pertaining. And this
college.
Are blue mages fun? Not necessarily good. Because blue mages, the whole thing about blue mages is they're never going to be good, but they're going to be versatile.
They have the best buff in the game.
Oh, hell yeah. Dragon
Guard?
Okay, Mighty Guard? Okay.
Yeah. So, like, shields, protect, all that stuff. I think it also casts Floats and Haste, maybe? It's just good. That, like, my first playthrough of that game...
Because I've learned
that as like the secondary ability for Bart's.
I've learned because I mentioned earlier, like I did like a quick look through to be like to see like kind of like what to like be in the lookout for, because I don't want to miss things.
Yeah.
And apparently one of the best weapons for, I think Geomancer used the bells, right?
I think so.
I think one of the best belts in the game, or the best one is a steal from from the self, which is like a boss fight. So if you don't get it, you miss it for forever. However,
that sounds right. That sounds like classic RPG design.
Exactly. So like I want to look out for those things, and I'm specifically gonna dig in more into the Game Boy Advance ones because extra dungeons and stuff like that.
No,
I looked up.
You don't have to think about it with the extra dungeons because you get gear in
That's
the extra
appropriate
dungeons.
for that. The thing I looked up was like I said, generalized builds. Apparently, blue mage, red mage is totally a thing.
Yeah, sounds right.
Because double cast some of the blue mage spells, and it just makes them ridiculously like that. That is your healer buffer.
Blue magic is a very solid secondary.
That's always one of the questions I always like ask, or I want to find out whenever I play Final Fantasy. Is like, how cool is blue magic? Because I fucking love blue mages. I don't know what it is. It's just I love the idea of like I get to learn what you get to do.
I remember like when I played that game.
Kimari fucking sucks.
Kimari, yeah.
Kimari fucking, that shouldn't be your special. That should just be part of your kit. Your special should just be a cooler, better version of it.
Same with Quistis from Final Fantasy VIII. Making blue magic the limit break. Fuck off.
Yeah.
What? Like you have limit breaks that can do like 100,000 damage. Why the fuck would I use blue magic?
You limit break is the thing that makes you unique, which makes you a non-character throughout most of your fight.
The only thing that's cool is like, hey, you could do bad breath, and that's it. Like everything else, like any healing.
It's funny to mention that my blue so I made Marchi, my blue mage character, Marche, my mage blue mage in my Final Fantasy Tactics. He's a hunter blue mage. Mm-hmm. All he does is puts everybody to sleep.
Okay.
It's great.
Should we end this before because we can easily.
We should end it.
Again, like we love Final Fantasy too much, man. This can go on forever. Peace.
Yeah.
I love you, Sheriff Truman.
I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you.